special meeting of the Logansport City Council. It's going to be the standard order of business. I've just called the meeting to order, so please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Joe Buck.
Here.
Gary Fox.
Here.
Charlie Hastings.
Here.
Bob Bishop.
Here.
Chuck Liddell.
Here.
Teresa Popejoy.
Present.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Here.
Approval of minutes from the June 3rd, 2014 meeting.
Your Honor, I ask that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussions regarding the minutes from the June 3rd meeting? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Minutes are approved on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Under comments of the mayor, I received a letter from City Council dated June 5th, 2014. I believe Council President Buck has a copy of that letter. I would ask him to read that into the record.
This was the letter that the City Council submitted to the mayor on June 5th. Thank you for the hard work and dedication with regard to the development of the new power plant. You and the rate stabilization team have made great progress in securing our energy requirements for decades to come. However, after hearing the concerns of some residents and ratepayers, we, the undersigned council persons, respectfully request that you temporarily withdraw the development agreement from consideration by the Common Council. We ask that the development agreement ordinance not be placed on the council agenda for the June 16th special meeting. We encourage you to continue the discussions with the representatives from TCS. We also ask that the development agreement be presented to the Common Council, allowing 30 days for adequate time for our review once those negotiations have concluded. We believe that the commercial operation date, COD as outlined in the power purchase agreement, would not be affected by this request. By honoring this request, you will provide enough time for everyone involved in the process to make well-informed, well-thought-out decisions. Please acknowledge receipt of this letter and reply by mail or email as soon as possible. Respectfully, signed by all 7 council members.
Okay, and continuing under comments of the mayor, I did provide a response as was requested on June 6, 2014. I'll read that into the record. Logansport City Council members, dear council members, thank you for expressing your concerns regarding the pending power plant development agreement. I appreciate your concerns with regard to the questions that remain. I will be pleased to honor your request to temporarily withdraw from consideration the development agreement at the next City Council meeting scheduled for Monday, June 16th. I pledge to continue open and transparent communication as the situation redevelops. I am happy to know that you continue to support my discussions with representatives from TCS. Thank you for your support in the ratification and confirmation of the power purchase agreement. I also appreciate your continual support and involvement in this crucial decision-making process for the future of Logansport and our energy needs. Respectfully, Ted Franklin, Mayor. I'll be able to provide a copy of those. Mitchell, if you'd like to stop by the office tomorrow, I'll get you a copy for the record. Are there any petitions or comments of citizens? No? Yeah, please turn the microphone around, state your name and address.
Okay.
All right.
My name's Tony Campbell. I live at 1001 Manorwood Drive here in Logansport, and I was going to go through it quite in depth about I think you guys should take a step back, and it sounds that's exactly what you're doing, and I applaud you for doing that. You know, I had time to go through the power purchase agreement. There were a lot of things that concerned me. You know, one thing I shared with Jeremy before I came in, it gives an address of the TCS. If you look it up on Google Maps, I'll show it to you. It looks like a pharmacy to me. I commend you for taking a step back, doing your own research, making sure this is a legitimate company, make sure someone we want to do business with. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Are there any more petitions or comments of citizens?
My name is Jim Brew, B-R-U-G-H. I live at 1315 East Market Street here in the city of Logansport. I was at your last meeting and suggested at that time why it was imprudent to go forward with ordinance 2014-20. The power purchase agreement with TCS Logansport Energy Group LLC. It is even more imprudent this evening to go forward with the second reasoning without the development agreement. You have still not identified who the business entity is that you're dealing with. It's just a name, a made-up name. It's not registered in France. I reviewed that with you last time. All businesses in France are registered, and the name that's in your PPA, page 32, is TCS Energy Group SARL, is not registered in France. The Uniform Commercial Code requires, under the statute of frauds, so you know you're dealing with, not something fakey or fraudulent, that the seller, you're identified as the buyer in this agreement, the seller be identified. The scheme as laid out in the minutes of the service board when the Mayor Franklin appeared in front of him last winter, said that by April, the Mayor assured the service board that he would have in hand both a power purchase agreement and a development agreement. Here we are in June. I know the scheme for today was to come back and consider the power purchase agreement in the context of having read the companion document, the development agreement. And so to me it's implausible, illogical that you're sitting here presuming to act again upon a purchase power agreement at second reading, and you still have never seen, as far as I know, the development agreement. It does not make legal sense, it does not make business sense, and above all, no common sense. As I prepared my thoughts for this opportunity to give a citizen's comment this evening, I pushed my chair back at my kitchen table and I took a long view. You issued a request for proposals to generate electricity with refuse-derived fuel, trash, as the fuel. You awarded the contract to Pyrolyzer LLC. Well, that's a real business. Across the hall there at the last Utility Service Board meeting recently, the Pyrolyzer executive, Frank Canterbury, spoke. Mr. Canterbury told the Utility Service Board that all this negotiation as part of the public-private agreement law that so much money has been spent on collapsed. Canterbury said that negotiation collapsed last October because the financier never showed up for meetings, never made any commitment. I imagine we would never have learned that but for Mr. Canterbury's appearance in front of the Service Board. In January of this year, when you passed this ordinance by a vote of 4-3, so now I'm reaching back to you, Mr. Fox, Mr. Buck, Mr. Hastings, Mr. Bishop. The burden at this point of our local city history is upon you. And I've examined the words. You gave 2 reasons in your ordinance extending Mayor Franklin's authority to continue bargaining with Pyrolyzer. You specifically said that there had been an inability of the parties, that's Pyrolyzer in the city, nobody else, to reach agreement on a number of issues, including the final form of financing the project, 1, the form of required system integration, interconnection agreements with MISO, and other development requirements. You 4, in passing that ordinance, in January, lied when you told the public that negotiations with Pyrolyzer continued. Canterbury told us they were over with in the fall. That's what Mr. Canterbury said. He's the agent there, Joe. I see you shaking your head. You also lied in the same document, you 4, when you said negotiations were continuing regarding hooking us up to MISO, the wholesale grid, that continued, because you never made application. That's the first step to MISO. Mayor Franklin has submitted invoices from Gary Peterson to the clerk, Ms. Hayworth, and she wrote 6 checks to Peterson's consulting business for over $1,225,000. That public money is gone. That money is gone. A number of times I have requested an accounting. Other people have. It's never been forthcoming. That much money in the history of this city, and by contrast, people are concerned over spending a couple $100,000 for a swimming pool that gives public enjoyment, and it's real. You can touch it. That's a public benefit. That $1.225 million is gone. By Ordinance 2013-14, you set up a seated Fund A with $778,000 in it. About 4 weeks ago or so, I went to the clerk's office and I checked, despite Mayor Franklin's obstruction of me. I checked on the balance in that account. That $778,000 is now down to less than $16,000. Account for that public money's expenditure. I'm a lawyer. I read laws. The public-private agreement law that was the basis of your giving of bids, and the Pyrolyzer won the bid, says do the agreement with Pyrolyzer or call it dead. Don't play games. You paid Brian Bosma to play a game with our money and coming up with games like this power purchase agreement. You tell the citizens and the service board to be in a hurry because Mr. Franklin has this new secret French investor, same entity who brought no money to the table where Pyrolyzer was sitting. We would not have known that except for Canterbury telling us that. You pass a purchase power agreement as though it means something. It means nothing without the development agreement. Today's meeting was scheduled. I was here last time. I heard the representations that were made to each other and the representations that were made by the mayor to the service board. The sequence is tonight's the time, last minute, to read the development agreement. And then somehow it's supposed to mesh with the power purchase agreement. That's how today's meeting was scheduled, with the development agreement up for discussion. That's the meat. Put the meat on the table, or quit spending your money now on Mr. Bosma and send him back to Indianapolis. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Are there any more public comments? All right, hearing none. Reports from committees, boards, and commissions.
I've got a question.
Yes, please.
Received a letter from the Cass County Amateur Radio Club addressed to the City Council. And the Cass County Amateur Radio Club would like to invite you to learn about amateur radio and emergency communications. The club will be taking part in the 2014 American Radio Relay League Field Day on Saturday and Sunday, June 28th. This event, which is an emergency communications exercise, begins at 2 p.m. on Saturday and will run a continuous 24 hours or until 2 p.m. Sunday. Field day location is at the Cass County Emergency Management Agency on State Road 17. The public is invited to stop by and see what they're doing and learn about emergency communications. So, that's mine.
Are there any more reports from committees, boards, or commissions? All right, hearing none. Under old business, ordinance 2013-29. Councilman Bishop, please.
Ordinance 2013-29, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, concerning the burning of waste and building materials. Your Honor, I call for a second reading on this tabled ordinance 2013-29.
Second.
Ordinance 2013-29 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Can you refresh my memory what this is in regards to?
If you'd like, I could ask Councilman Bishop to read the ordinance into the record. It pertains to open burning, campfires, basically,
Okay.
Jeremy. It's recreational fires.
Okay.
Let me read it.
This
No, I don't think so. I pulled that out of it, reading it, but my question was this one of the ordinances that was tabled during the annexation?
Yes, that's what this is.
This is one out of the four.
But the others, Councilman Ashcraft, pertain to the annexation area exclusively, and this one was a citywide, and I've had a couple of requests in the last 6 weeks or so to revisit this, and City Attorney had weighed in on it that it was certainly appropriate to pick it up at this time if we so desired. I
Okay.
sent an email out to that effect.
Okay. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to be sure that the public is aware, we still do not approve burning materials, garbage, waste, or
Right.
anything like that. It's campfire or grill cooking.
Right.
It's not. And in the annexed area, they can burn the fence rows.
Yeah, I think it would be
Not in the
appropriate.
city.
Yeah.
I think it would be appropriate to go ahead and read sections B and C.
Yeah, might be good.
Councilman Bishop?
Okay, in section B, it says, unless otherwise allowed, the burning of trash, garbage, refuge, or waste materials within the city of Logansport is declared to be a nuisance and is prohibited, with the following exceptions. Fence rows, other vegetation may be burned on land annexed under ordinance 2013-09 and ordinance 2013-10, which is zoned for agricultural use. C, the use of charcoal grills, gas grills, outdoor fireplaces constructed in compliance with the outdoor fireplace approved by the underwriter's laboratory shall be allowed. Any food prepared on grills of any kind or outdoor fireplaces shall be for non-commercial purposes only.
Portable grills, when in use, must be placed on a non-flammable surface. Campfires and other recreational fires will be allowed on condition they are contained in a fire pit or ring and burn clean firewood only. No building materials, trash, garbage, refuge, or waste materials may be burned on a grill of any kind, an outdoor fireplace, campfires, or other recreational fires.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more discussion regarding ordinance 2013-29? If not, I'll call for the vote on ordinance 2013-29.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Ordinance 2013-29 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-27. Councilman Hastings, please. I'm sorry. 14-17.
Ordinance number 2014-17, ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving certain amendments to the declaratory resolutions and the economic development plans for the Highway 35 Gateway Commerce Economic Development Area and the East End Economic Development Area. The expansion and consolidation of such economic development areas and related allocation areas, the consolidation of the plans for such economic development areas, the addition of certain projects to the consolidated economic development plan, and related matters. Your Honor, I call for a second vote on ordinance 2014-17.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-17 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance 2014-17.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
No.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
No.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
No.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-17 passes on second reading on a vote of 4 in favor, 3 opposed. Ordinance 2014-18. Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Ordinance 2014-18, ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving certain amendments to the declaratory resolution and the redevelopment plan for the downtown redevelopment area, adding certain projects to the downtown redevelopment area plan and related matters. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-18.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-18 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-18.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
No.
Teresa Popejoy.
No.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
No.
Ordinance 2014-18 passes on a vote of 4 in favor and 3 opposed. Ordinance 2014-19. Councilman Buck, please.
Ordinance 2014-19, an ordinance of the Common Council, City of Logansport, Indiana, amending ordinance 9732, property maintenance ordinance, an ordinance to establish and enforce minimum standards for housing in the City of Logansport. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-19.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-19 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. We'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-19.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-19 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-20. Councilman Ashcraft, please.
Ordinance 2014-20, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, ratifying and confirming a purchase power agreement with TCS Logansport Energy Group, LLC. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-20.
Second.
Ordinance 2014, I'm sorry? No. Ordinance 2014-20 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mayor Franklin, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
After hearing Mr. Campbell speak and reviewing my PPA, have you met Vivian Kathling that's listed in there that we're signing the agreement with,
I have met agents of TCS,
but not Vivian Kathling?
Vivian, and no.
Okay, and have you been to the address that was listed one place, De l'Homme de Feu, 67,000 Strasbourg, France?
No.
Okay. Have you heard of a group called Alpine Energy?
I've heard of them, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to do my diligence and research it. I can't get anything to come up on any hits with TCS, but when I do a Google image search, I constantly get redirected with TCS to Alpine, so I'm thinking there might be a link there somehow. I'm just trying to figure it all out.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion regarding ordinance 2014-20? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-20.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
No.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
No.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-20 passes on a vote of 5 in favor, 2 opposed. Ordinance 2014-21, Councilman Fox, please.
Ordinance 2014-21, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, authorizing the expenditure of funds from the county economic development income tax for a public water supply project to serve ABC Metals Incorporated. I motion for ordinance 2014-21.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-21 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I got a
Councilman
question for the clerk. Do you know how much we have in the seated fund? Oh,
Around 3 million.
that's what I thought. Okay. That's it.
Is there any more discussion regarding ordinance 2014-21? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-21.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
2014-21 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-21. Councilman Liddell, please.
Resolution 2014-21, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, authorizing the approval of tax abatement compliance forms, CF1s, for personal property from Myers Spring, Matthew Warren, Logansport Machine, ABC Metals, Small Parts, Matthew Warren again, Cotronics, Myers Spring, and Logansport Machine. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 2014-21.
Second.
Resolution 2014-21 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion regarding Resolution 2014-21?
Your Honor, I'd just like to point out we had a committee meeting regarding this, and all of the companies that were being brought forward for tax abatement were all within compliance, except for Matthew Warren. On a couple of instances, they were pretty far off on their wages paid. However, it was explained by John Hipskind about the reason that it was. There were people being counted as employees that on their paperwork that didn't actually live in our city, and when they removed it, they were paying wages outside of that. And when John explained all of the legalese to it, it made perfect sense to go ahead and approve their abatement despite the fact they were off. So I just think it's worthy of the public knowing that.
Yeah, the questionable employees were corporate level and not the production workers that are still active and working in Logansport.
Is there any more discussion regarding Resolution 2014-21? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on Resolution 2014-21.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2014-21 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-22, Councilman Bishop, please.
Resolution 2014-22, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, authorizing the approval of tax abatement compliance forms, CF1s, for the real property for ABC Metals and Tube Fabrication. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 2014-22.
Second.
Resolution 2014-22 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on Resolution 14-22.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2014-22 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-23, Councilman Hastings, please.
Resolution 2014-23, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, granting personal property tax abatement to Myers Spring Company Incorporated for certain equipment located within the City of Logansport. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 14-23.
Second.
Resolution 2014-23 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. We'll call for a vote on Resolution 2014-23.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Resolution 2014-23 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-24, Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Resolution 2014-24, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, authorizing the name change from Federal Mogul on Resolution 2011-34, SB1, for approved tax abatement to Carter Fuel Systems Incorporated, Compliance Form CF1. Show Carter Fuel Systems owns and maintains the equipment and employees approved on the SB1. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on Resolution 2014-24.
Second.
Resolution 2013-24 has been moved and properly seconded. 14-24 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Wrong meeting. Call for a vote on Resolution 2014-24.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-24 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. It's 14-24. I'm stuck in 13. Are there any board member comments?
Your Honor, I just have a question. Do you have any general time frame? Again, I appreciate it. I knew your response. I got it via email, but opened up my letter today, and I thank you for that regarding the DA. But do you have any ballpark idea of when council will have that in our hands so we can begin our review?
You know, Chuck, I'm reluctant to respond to that question at this point in time. We made a lot of progress. And it's very possible we could have it in a short amount of time. You could have it in your hands in a week, but then again, I just don't know if if there's another request for more information or more time. I'll certainly get it to you and allow plenty of time for you to review before it's brought here for a final vote.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I have something to say. It's not about annexation, it's not about the power plant, it's about the price of gas. We have a grocery store here in town, Martin's Supermarket. You shop in there, you get a discount at Speedway on your gas. And everybody knows the price of gas in Logansport is high. I would like to see other businesses maybe step up and make a deal with Speedway to get some cheaper gas if you shop at their location. I mean, it keeps the people in town, it keeps the business in town. I mean, consequently, it'd be a better community, I think. And then price of gas, it seems like is higher in Logan than anywhere else. So I mean, it's something to think about, because I know I can shop at Martin's and, man, you get a pretty good discount on gas at Speedway. And maybe some of the other gas stations would see that and drop their prices a little bit. It's just a thought, and we'll see where it goes.
I went to Kokomo last Friday, and I just happened to catch their a station that was down to $3.65, and so it's 34 cents cheaper than it was here in Logansport, and a lot of stations in Kokomo.
It's just a point of contention among a lot of people in the community.
Sure is.
The price of gas in Logansport. It's just a thought.
Okay, are there any more board member comments?
Mayor Franklin, I have a comment. I'd like to comment on the reasons that I voted against the two TIF ordinances. I voted against those because not because I'm against new business coming into the community, nor existing businesses having access to dollars to help with the expansion. I did vote against these ordinances because of the negative financial impact these ordinances cause to public entities that serve these TIF districts. Former Senator Weatherwax spoke recently at a public forum for the power plant about the decreased dollars available because of the circuit breaker impact. Public entities have less and less dollars available to meet day-to-day expenses, which include payroll and equipment and other needs. Growth by new business and increased population brings an increase to these expenses, placing an even harsher burden on public entities. In addition, while there are some financial benefits to combining funds of the TIF districts, which would decrease the need to borrow money, it also removes some of the guidelines and would allow for concentrated efforts into one area while ignoring other areas from which funds are collected and designed to be used. Also, the ordinances expanded the timeline for the dates on some of the TIF districts. My greatest hope is that we have an influx of new business into the community. My greatest fear is that we don't have the tax dollars available to take care of that business. Obviously, I'm not the only one concerned with the TIF districts and the dollars they collect, as the 2014 legislature began to address some of the same concerns that I have and other public entities have. For these reasons, I felt it necessary to vote against these two ordinances. And I didn't want there to be any misconstruing on why I voted against them. Thank you.
Second.
All right, are there any more board member comments, members of council? Okay, I'm going to weigh in now. Earlier comments by Mr. Brew. He's been wrong from the beginning. He was wrong again tonight. He referred to the RFP process. That's the same process that he sued us over. He was wrong all the way through the court system, all the way to the Supreme Court. Wrong, wrong again. $75,000 we had to waste because he was wrong. He chastised Frank Canterbury as not being a real person, only to now try to befriend Frank Canterbury. I've had discussions with Frank Canterbury as recently as last month. The authorization, the resolution, I believe it was 1347, that was approved by City Council on January 10th this year, expanded my authority to negotiate outside our discussions with Pyrolyzer LLC to negotiate in good faith with anybody. That's what we've done. He knows nothing about the details of the negotiations. That's the reason they're called negotiations. We don't do it in the newspaper. We don't do it in his office, and we darn sure don't do it in the Supreme Court. We do it when we have something to report. That's what we do. That's the terms of the ordinance. When there's a report to come back, it'll be brought to you for consideration. That's the way we do things. They may not like it, but that is the way we're going to do it. Now I find it totally amusing that we now have an expert in French law. French law. He's quoting French law. He hasn't been right in Indiana law yet. And he's quoting French law. Council, we have very capable attorneys that advise us every single day on taking the right steps. We're doing this the right way. We're going to continue doing it the right way. And I have no doubt that we will not please every community or every citizen of the community. It's not going to happen. But we're going to have an opportunity here that we're all going to get to weigh in on. Keep in mind, this is a democratic republic. You people are elected to decide. We're following the law. We're doing it exactly as we should. We're doing it the same way every other city in Indiana does. We're doing it the way the Indiana General Assembly does. Even back into the day When the Utility Service Board was created, we've been doing it that way ever since. We did it that way before. Nothing has changed. We're doing it the right way. Have some patience. We're going to get there. That's all I have to say. Is there any more miscellaneous business, including matters not already considered? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned.